You mentioned training at such an early age, and I mean, which is wild to say because you're at an early age now still, and you're accomplishing all this. Did you have to overcome any stigmas or anything? Because I mean, the drill. Like a lot of times, if you're in school and you tell people I'm going to be a pro wrestler, like the snide remarks and the looks, and sometimes people's family aren't behind it. Sometimes they are. What was that like for you training at such an early age? Was it tough to find a trainer, or was it tough to find places to train? Anything like that?
Um, Not really. There was a local wrestling promotion called Laredo Wrestling Alliance, in my hometown, and so my stepdad was a firefighter, and his coworker was a wrestler for that
Okay.
promotion, and so he told him about it, and then that's when my dad started taking me to those shows. And we met the promoter, and that's when like I told my mom, I'm like, oh, can you ask him if I can start training? And I was 11 when my mom first asked, and they
Wow.
were like, I don't think so. I think like maybe put her into like tumbling, gymnastics. Mom was like, okay, so we did that. And then when I turned 13, I asked her if she could ask again. And she asked again, and they were like, okay, bring her in. And
That's
so like we
awesome.
get there, and it's just like a bunch of grown dudes, and my mom's
Yeah.
kind of like, and but all of them like took me pretty serious. Like I think when I went in there, they could kind of like tell that I was very serious about it, and I've been serious about it since I said that I wanted to become a wrestler. And so my first two trainers, George Benavides and Johnny Angel, they were like so awesome. They made it a point to make sure like every time we were at training, like, hey, like just because she's a girl, like don't treat her any different. Um, and like I appreciated that so much because I think uh, just like when I first started training, there wasn't a lot of girls. So like I was the only girl with a bunch of like girl men, and it was kind of like, oh, like I hope they're kind of like taking me seriously. But yeah, I don't think I mean, I think I ran into some stuff like every now and then. I think like one time, I think it was maybe like twice that I had a dark match, and like my whole family was there, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna cut your dark match," and I was
Oh
like, "Oh man."
no.
But I think it's just like like I guess yeah, the stigma of like, oh, like she's super young, and like she obviously you can't get signed when you're underage. So I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people were just like, oh, whatever. But I think like I just like have this crazy passion for wrestling that I was just like, I don't care about that. Like I just want to wrestle and like be like become really, really good so that when it does come that time, like maybe things will happen.
Of course.
But yeah.
So who was the person in the ring that you looked at and you were like, this makes me want to be a pro wrestler, especially like as a child? Like it seems like most people have that distinct vision and they're like, oh well, I got to be a wrestler at this point.
Yeah, so one of my favorite wrestlers was The Rock. But I was a fan of him since like his movies, and I didn't know what professional wrestling was. Then I got into professional wrestling and I was like,
Did you
what?
find out about pro wrestling because of The Rock?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I found it because of The Rock. I was like, I think my dad was like flipping through the channels once and The Rock was doing like a promo or something, and I was like, wait, what? That's The Rock. Like, what is he doing? And then I just sat through the rest of the show and I was hooked. But AJ Lee is the reason why I wanted to become a professional wrestler. I think like the first diva that I saw was Kelly Kelly, and I was like, oh, she's amazing. But it was like I couldn't really like relate to her because it was like I didn't look like her. I like I think with AJ, she's like a tomboy, and she's super tiny, and she's Latina, and I think like I related so much to that because I was just like, oh, like I can definitely do this. Yeah.
So who do you look at